seed this week. It's already sprouting.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a busy time of year as we're doing gardens and we're going to get beehives on the weekend and all that kind of stuff. It's a busy time in the farm.
Yep, I hear you there. Us too.
And this is my last weekend home for 3 weeks. I've got events 3 weekends in a row here. So.
Oh wow! So enjoy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you going to be at ICU in Chicago? Just curious.
No, I don't ever go to any of those things. No.
Oh, okay. Just wondered.
Well, I can't actually attend things like that very well because I'm allergic to perfume.
Oh. Yikes.
So even when I go to celebration, I can't even go in the room because there's too much perfume in the room.
Wow.
So I can hang out in the sales room. I'm not even sure I'm going to go to Vegas this year because that's a little too dangerous for me. Like it's an EpiPen situation. It's not like I'm going to get a hive.
Yikes.
It'll shut off my, so I might not be there this year. I might go on a motorcycle trip with my wife and see all my mentees afterwards.
Well, that'd be fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we've only got a couple people so far. Do we know if we're expecting anybody else today?
We have one that may be coming late. Have you heard from Becky, Tessa?
I didn't. Nope. She didn't post anything on there whether she would be. We're recording it, so they can catch up with that. And if they get on late, then,
Okay. Now, just to be clear, we did the 2 weeks about launch parties already, and now we're doing the 6 touches in the first 30 days, correct?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay. I switched it up for some teams. I can't keep it always straight in my head who was who, so I always have to ask.
Yep.
So let's talk about how do we get people paid. Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Now, there are 2 factors that lead to you making more revenue. One, we know, let's get people to consultant. The other one we don't focus on as much, and that's extending the lifespan of your average consumer. But we do know that the teams that do both make more money per enrollment than anybody in the world. There's one team in particular, they only have 26,000 people in their downline, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. And just one level down, the personally enrolled of this leader, they're making $1.5 million a year from 26,000 people in downline. Now, to compare it sideways, most leaders have over 100,000 before they hit that number. Some have over 200,000 in their downline before they hit that number. Now, why do you think I'm focusing not on what the leader makes, but what on their personally enrolled makes?
Well, because if the personally enrolled are making money, then they're going to stick with it, and they're also going to teach their personally enrolled to make money as well. So it's going to benefit them in the long run. That's
right. And now you see a little bit of the genius behind the compensation plan, where 2-star and on, they keep track of your 4 PET, 4 levels below, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they base your shares in the leadership pools. Not what you're making, but what you're making plus what the people 4 descendants down from you are making. Because they know if it doesn't descend and duplicate, whatever's built will soon collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Isogenics, they only preach sermons one way, and that's with money. So whenever there's a rule for a way that we get paid, you always want to look back and say, oh, what is Jim trying to teach us here? Well, in that case, he's teaching us, make sure that not just you gets paid, but your people gets paid. Why? I'll pay you more. Well, why is he doing that? Well, because we're the ones that build the stability of Isogenics. And if our positions aren't stable, their whole company isn't stable. So that's why they put money specifically into duplicating within that 4 PET. Is that clear for everybody?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the 6 touches we're going to go through today, they are for both issues: extending the lifespan of your average product user and increasing the percentage of your associates who go to consultant beyond. Now, not a lot of training on this in isogenics. A lot of this stuff you'll go, I've never heard this before. I know, because too much effort is just spent on, enroll. But unless you learn these next steps, you'll have to be constantly enrolling at a huge level to keep your revenue up. And we all know you can't do that forever. Eventually you run out of people to enroll. And that's why you have to shift into this next gear and learn the 6 touches. Now, the resources for the touches, there's a form on our website. Have either of you seen the form before?
No, I haven't.
I don't think so.
So if you go to evolvedeconomy.com, on evolvedeconomy.com, that's our website, there's a picture of a little toolbox, and beside the toolbox is a PDF of the 6 touches in the first 30 days. We'd like you to use this form as to how you keep track of each one of your associates. So on the form would be their name and their contact information, what was their original health goal, and then what pack did they start with. And then it lists the 6 touches we're going to go over today down the piece of paper. So we'd like you to print off one of these for every one of your associates, fill it out, and then follow it, so that you can actually keep tabs of where they are in their progression and which is the next conversation I need to have with them to help influence them seeing the value of getting their products for free. Now, this feels very paint by number because it is. Because this is where people get lost. It gets too confusing and complicated to keep track of your enrollees. And that's why we want to have a simple paper document that you would review at the beginning of every work week to see, well, where is my associate within their first 30-day period? And what do I need to call them about this week in order to stay on track with the first 6 touches? Does that strategy make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also use a form because then when someone wants to do what we're doing, we aren't explaining ourselves to death. We're simply sharing the form. Here, follow this form. And also on that webpage, evolvedeconomy.com, there's a YouTube video that's an hour long of me explaining how to use the 6 touches. So you don't have to retrain it. You can just share the video and the form with them. Trying to simplify it for everybody. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
One last resource, and that is 5 of the 6 touches are actual conversations we want you to have with people. Now, we have recorded individual videos for each of those touches. They're on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube, type in PK Smith, you'll see my channel. On that channel, you will see them listed by the touches. Touch number 2, the generous referral bonus. Touch number 3, the day 5 miracle phone call. Touch number 4, the day 14 compliment call. Touch number 5, the day 20 coaching call. And touch number 6, the inventory review call on day 30. That way you don't have to have scripts. You don't need to memorize anything. When you realize you need to make this touch, you then would go back and review what you need to say by watching the video and then make your call. All very mobile, all very simple for you to keep track of. Still making sense to you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Facebook page that supports business builders within your team, feel free to move all those resources over to your page and just have them go to your page to find them rather than hunting and pecking on my pages. That's why we share them with you. That's why we share all of our resources with anybody. We don't hide any of what we teach from anybody. We want everybody to use it.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we would print off a copy of the form. Then we would fill out the form with the details of our new associate. And then we would use the form as a guide for what we're going to communicate to our new associate over the next 30 days. So none of it is from memory. It's all written down. It's all followed from a format. So you're using your brain as a factory, not a warehouse, trying to remember things. So let's go through the 6 touches. Would that be okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Touch number 1 isn't a conversation, it's an action. And this action simply is this. During the enrolling process, which we know will take 4 to 6 connections over 4 to 8 months, during that period of time, we want to make sure that we are sharing both a product video and an opportunity video with the person we're enrolling. Now, we use tools so that we can illustrate to our soon-to-be new associate how simple it is to build this business, that it isn't all rote and memory, but there are actually tools that Isagenix provides that help explain what we do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in the practice of using tools, it will lead to fewer people actually doing the business with you because it seems to be incomprehensible how you're doing it. When you use tools, it makes it seem to be much simpler and kind of plug and play. And that's what we're trying to communicate to people, that it is that simple. Now, do either of you have a favorite opportunity tool you like to share with a person before they enroll?
I like to use the Isagenix Y video. Is my favorite one to use.
And it kind of does both, doesn't it? It does both the opportunity and the product, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I found.
Did you see?
Go ahead. I'm trying to.
No, you go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's called. Let me see. I have it saved in my notes. Yeah. The Isagenix difference in Canada. I just found that one on.
Just came out yesterday. It came out Monday. Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
It's amazing. I think it's a good attention grabber for people who, I think, people in my position, a mom can, look to Lisa, like, she's a huge inspiration, but also, they talk a little bit about the opportunity in there too, financial opportunity. Yeah. And the teacher, which I could relate to, who is 31 years old and now is able to stay at home with her kids.
Yeah. It's probably the warmest video I've ever seen them make.
Mm-hmm. I really liked it.
Didn't you feel afterwards like you knew these people?
Oh yeah, and I watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is by far the warmest video they've ever made. I'm hugely impressed.
Mm-hmm. I really like it.
Well, I haven't seen that one yet. That's a Canadian version. I mean, I've seen Isagenix difference, but.
Yeah, this is specifically a Canadian version of it, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I used it on some of my prospects just yesterday.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
It's just on YouTube. If you just put in Isagenix Difference Canada up, it pops.
Okay.
I wish it wouldn't say Canada because, we can relate to it too.
Yeah, there's nothing distinctly Canadian about it. That's the weird thing by saying that it's Canada. I know all the leaders on that thing are Canadian, but it's not like we have a different pay plan or a different catalog. I mean, we're all in the same domestic market.
Right.
I think a couple of times they deliberately have the Canadian flag in the background somewhere.
Oh, I missed that.
Other than that, you wouldn't know that anybody on it is Canadian. They don't, we're not in igloos or anything.
Right.
Now, the reason we share the opportunity tool as well as the product tool is, of course, that Isagenix has that 2-pronged vision to eliminate both physical and financial pain. And we shouldn't feel that we have the liberty to edit their vision. So we show people both. This isn't shoving anything down anybody's throat. And it also isn't showing them you plus 2, them plus 2, okay? This is inspirational. It's not instructional. Mm-hmm. And so it's important that we realize that at this point, we're not instructing anybody. We're just inspiring them with what could be. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second touch, this one happens right after the person enrolls. And what we're going to do, we're going to compare someone taking that first step of becoming a consultant to something as simple and everyday for most people as offering a positive review on any other kind of an internet purchase site. The language sounds like this. So you've just got started with a President's Pack. Well, we know that Isagenix has a very generous referral bonus system. In companies, say like Amazon, the number one contributing factor for why a customer picks a particular product is a positive review from a fellow customer. Well, unlike Amazon, Isagenix will actually reimburse you for a positive referral. So if two of your friends were to join the first week with President's Packs like yourself, you'd get $420 in referral bonus money. And if three of your friends were to join you the first week, you'd get $634 in referral bonus money. Now, you may wonder where that money comes from. Well, Isagenix doesn't have any ads on TV. They don't put their products on the shelf at Walmart, and there is no stadium in the world that says Isagenix on the side of it. Instead, we share that money that others spend on those things with people who give us positive referrals like yourself. Now, notice we're giving specific numbers. We're not just vaguely saying you could get your products paid for. And that's because we found that most people don't have a clue what that means. So we want to be specific. This is exactly what will happen if 2 people join and if 3 people join. Can you see the value of that?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's unpack the numbers. If 2 people were to join with President's Packs, it would be 160 and 160 in double PIBs, plus $50 for going consultant and $50 for going crystal consultant. They did it the first week. And with 3, it of course is 160 plus 160 plus another 160 for $480 in double PIBs, plus $50 for going consultant, $50 for going crystal consultant, and because of the size of the packs, you would cycle your first week for $54. So if you start with a President's Pack and sign up 3 friends the first week, how much does your President's Pack end up costing?
Well, I mean, like $100 if you sign up 3, it's free.
Yeah. Oh, there's a good phrase.
That is a good phrase.
Yeah.
Good job,
3 and it's free. In fact, if you offer the Crystal Consultant bonus, the Pace Setter Pack, the President's Pack, and the Business Builders Packs are all free if 3 people join the first week. Doesn't cost you a cent. That's kind of an important little tidbit of information, don't you think? Maybe we should tell someone. Now, the real reason we say 3 is the same reason we started the Business Builders Pack and Go Down. That is that human beings tend to pick the compromise number. If you tell them to get 2, they're only going to get 1. So we tell them to get 3. So they'll still get 2. Think of that when you think of all of the pirates you have in your downline.
We were just talking about that before you jumped on the call, actually.
Yeah. Well, we only told them to get 2, so they did what humans do. They compromised, and they got 1. Oh, it can't be that simple, PK. It's actually how human beings make decisions. It is that simple. Sorry. It is. Simple solution, though, huh? Just tell them to get 3.
Right.
Yeah. Now you need to know the 3 sets of numbers for the 3 packs. President's Pack, Pacesetter Pack, and 30-day. We gave you the numbers for the President's Pack, 420 and 634. With the Pacesetter Pack, if 2 people join the first week, you'll get $300 back. And if 3 people join the first week, you'll get $400 back. Oh, look, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And with the 30-day, if 2 people join, you get $200 back. And if 3 people join, you get $250 back. It's almost free, but not quite. No cigar.
Okay.
And you just have to know those numbers to be able to share them with people the same day that they enroll.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
See how that's a softer touch? We're not mentioning the business or network marketing. We're just saying you've made an investment in your health. Can we get all or most of that investment back the first week? A little lighter touch, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, we happen to know that the vast majority of people, when we say that 1 minute of speech to them, their response is inevitably going to be, well, I don't want to share this with anyone until I know it works for me. Have you ever heard that before?
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you've never heard that, then you've never enrolled anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We actually plan on them saying that. That's what takes us to touch number 3. We plan on that being their response. Now, half of what's on the video on our YouTube channel, touch number 3, the day 5 miracle phone call, is said right now when that is their response. When they say, I don't want to share it until I know it works for me, we say, oh, I agree. I wouldn't want you to share it unless you knew it worked. But here's the great news. I happen to know that you're going to have measurable results by the 5th day of your nutritional experience. In fact, I'd like to talk to you on the 5th day just so I can hear the list of all the things that have changed in 5 short days. What might they tell you has changed by day 5?
More energy.
They feel better. They've probably already lost about 5 pounds.
Yes. Men will lose pounds. Women will lose
Inches.
Mm-hmm.
inches. And if they're married, he's already sleeping on the couch because he can't stop rubbing it in. Oh, really? You've already lost, what, 2 pounds? Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost 2 pounds during this conversation. Yeah. Thus, the couch. Any other side benefits by day 5?
It's been a long day since my day 5.
Yeah, better sleep maybe.
Oh, better
sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the mental fog may have disappeared by day 5 as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they started with the President's Pack and did all 3 systems. Now, just pause there for a second because we're about to suggest that they introduce us to 3 or 4 of their friends, okay? But in order for that to actually happen, between the day they enroll and this day is anywhere from 8 to 10 days because they had to be shipped to them. They've got a little waffling before they start, and then 5 days of the product. So there's been 8 to 10 days between these 2 touches, touch 2 and touch 3. In those 8 to 10 days, you must get this new associate on a peer-to-peer-to-peer 3-way call. And all that means, I want you to introduce them to anyone on your team who has anything in common with them to share their 30-second stories with them. Now, this isn't a scheduled 3-way call. I would just call Julie, in the evening when I think she might be available and say, hey, Julie, it's PK. Just wanted to congratulate you on your decision to invest in your health so passionately with what you're starting with. You know, I've got a friend of mine on the phone here. Her name is Karen, and she's a school teacher in your school district. And she had a tremendous product experience in her first 30 days. Would you mind if she just came on and shared her 30-second story with you? Because she's a fellow teacher, Julie says yes, and Karen comes on, and they nerd out a little bit about being teachers for a minute, and then she shares her 30-second story. You jump back in and say, we just wanted to say congratulations, and you get off the call, hopefully, in under 5 minutes. Now, is this peer-to-peer-to-peer three-way call as a welcome call a new concept for you, or something you're already doing?
That's actually new, and Tessa and I were talking before this about how, this is funny, since I'm a fitness instructor and I've always been somewhat fit, people can't relate to me because I have a completely different story than a lot of my friends. And, you know, Tessa has lost, how much weight have you lost?
About 30 pounds.
30 pounds. She looks excellent. I mean, a visible difference. For me, like, unless I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt and shorts, you can't tell. But for Tessa, to see her before and after is amazing. So I had just had a friend tell me that she didn't enroll. She finally did enroll with me, but she didn't. She was turned off at first because I've just always been fit, she said. So I think it would be perfect if someone like Tessa could speak with my friend and talk about the benefits that she has experienced. That's a genius idea.
Yeah. We actually prefer the peer-to-peer-to-peer three-way call over a typical three-way call. We find they're more powerful than bringing an expert on that the other person doesn't relate to, and then just answering lots of questions, because their skepticism is more emotionally based than it is intellectually based. So more information doesn't reduce their skepticism. But someone who they can relate to, assuring them that it worked for them, that does reduce their skepticism. You see how that could be true?
I totally agree with that. I mean, we haven't done it in exactly, like the same order, and definitely haven't. Like Sarah and I, she's my sponsor that enrolled me, and we work really closely together. And so, we don't do this with everybody, but we'll try to get on Zoom calls and things so that we can kind of see each other and, just do similar to what you're talking about, but probably much longer. And I think
that's the key. The welcome call has got to be short. The welcome call has got to be short. Because if you make your first call with them long, they will screen you from her going out because you just hijacked their evening. Okay. Yeah, make them short, on and off. Well, a three-way call period is only 15 minutes long. We don't do long three-way calls.
Okay.
It's because if it becomes a practice, people won't build the business just because it eats up too much of their time to do it. So getting off and on the phone in the longest 15 minutes and the shortest, under 5 for a welcome call, now people actually believe that they can fit this business into the nooks and crannies of their life. Oftentimes when we describe it can be done, and then the practice seems so different, it really makes them disbelieve everything else we're saying. Now, if we've had that peer-to-peer-to-peer three-way call, we would then suggest to them, why don't we talk to 3 or 4 of your friends and just tell them how great you feel and see if they wouldn't want to have the kind of results that you've been enjoying. And because we did the 3 steps, this is the 3rd touch in about 10 days, and because we got them on that peer-to-peer-to-peer three-way call, you can see as much as 10% of your associates deciding by this date they want to start sharing with your help. Which, of course, is a big number when you consider a complete rock star in Isogenics has a 25% conversion rate to consultant over an entire period of time, not the first 10 days. But this really does work. Now, the other reason it works is we're asking them about their product experience on day 5. Now, the reason we do that is it's the first day that 90% of the people feel a huge shift. Now, we want it to be the first day that this happens because they have to also vividly remember day one. And on day 5, they can, in fact, vividly remember day 1. If you wait for another week and they have a larger product experience, but by then the image of what day 1 was like is a lot dimmer in their memory. In fact, they might even start to begin to suffer from isogenics amnesia. And that's where they forget that isogenics is why they're feeling so great. On day 5, they can't have forgotten day 1. And because of that, they have a high sense of elation and excitement over their transformation. And they're more apt to be willing to share it with their friends. See my evil genius there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's why day 5 is crucial. Now, you also see that 3 of the touches are all done in the first third of the month. That's because we want to be able to get our personally enrolled to consultant the first month, then repeat the touches with their 2 new associates so we can get them to crystal manager the second month. Big mistake we make, we get to someone to consultant, we figure we can let go of them. No, we're going to repeat those 6 touches another level deeper with our new consultant, with their 2 new associates. So they do have that chance in the first 60 days of getting all the way to crystal manager.
Okay.
See the method to our madness?
Mm-hmm.
Same process, same 6 touches, just a level deeper. Now, the second half of the 6 touches begin at day 14. And on day 14 and on, we have to shift our strategy specifically about what pack are we mentioning getting paid for. Because on day 14 of their product experience, it has been anywhere from 17 to 20 days since they originally enrolled. So it's been 17 to 20 days since they put that cost on their credit card. And in that time, they've had a paycheck or 2. So the motivation of getting Isogenics to help them pay for that pack is diminishing. And that's why going forward, we have to make sure that in the second 3 touches, we're talking about getting their auto ship order paid for, not the original order. That strategy, is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see why maybe in the past you've been mentioning the initial order too long and that may be falling on deaf ears just because of time?
Yeah. And because they say they want to see results. They want to wait. They want to wait.
Yeah.
They want to wait.
Yeah. Now, on day 14, we ask, instead of asking what did you notice, now we ask who else noticed. We call this the compliment call. Now, this compliment call will both help the person appreciate their product experience and thus extend their product ordering, and allow them to see that there are people to talk to about what they're enjoying. So we would ask them on day 14, hey, you look great. You must feel great. I wonder, is there anyone who's actually noticed and made a compliment to you because of your product experience in the last 2 weeks? Now, if this person has a negative body self-image, unfortunately, they're going to imagine that everyone's going to be saying, wow, it looks like you lost weight in the last 2 weeks. When in fact, almost no one is ever going to say that to you. What are they afraid of?
They're afraid you're going to recruit them.
Well, it might be that they're afraid you're going to be recruit them. That might be it. Or they might be afraid that it suggests I noticed 2 weeks ago you were fat.
Right.
Right?
I knew I was fat 2 weeks before, so I guess I never cared.
Now, there are code compliments that people give each other that mean I noticed. I'm just not going to mention the weight. What's a code compliment someone might get that means I noticed, but it doesn't say pounds or inches?
Just telling you look really pretty, or
yeah, what's different about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
A man always gives the same compliment. What's the man's compliment? Do you know?
Did you do something different with your hair?
It's always the hair. You got it. Absolutely. We've been trained. You can't get in trouble for that one. Yeah. One of my mentees had a male coworker. I can't believe he did this, but a male coworker said to her on a coffee break, "Hey, are you pregnant?" And she said, "No, Dave, I'm not pregnant."
No, I'm just.
And he said, Are you sure? Because, sometimes you don't know. She says, Dave, you can't ask that of a woman twice. And why are you looking at me that way, asking if I'm pregnant? That's a little off. He says, no, I'm not looking anywhere but your face. And she said, oh, so my face looks pregnant. Thanks. No. She says, it's the glow. My wife's had 3 babies. And every single time, she had that beautiful glow you have in your face these days. So, are you sure you're not pregnant? And she said, thank you for the compliment, Dave. And by the way, you suck at compliments. But it is an important part of them accepting a brand new body self-image to embrace the fact that other people are thinking positively of their transformation. I know we call it self-image, but the fact is that self-image is shaped by what we perceive people think or say about us. I think of my little girl, Katie. She'll be 25 next month. And she released a significant amount of weight when she was 18. And for years afterwards, I would see her pulling her t-shirt away from a tummy that wasn't there. And I would say, KK, what are you doing? She says, oh, I know, Dad. I've lost the weight here, but not in my head. It'll catch up, but in my head, I'm still heavy. But today, she's a healthy, vibrant 25-year-old, and she's as fit as you could possibly be. I think she's squatting 205 right now at the gym on the bars. She's healthy, but she didn't feel that great about herself when she first had the product experience, because there is that delay in embracing what's actually happened to us. And that's what this compliment call can actually do for people. Help them fully appreciate all the good that has happened in their transformation. Have you ever had someone where their self-image is delayed behind their actual physical transformation?
Oh, yeah. I have that problem myself, in fact.
It's very common. It's very common. This call helps begin that step out of it. And that's why I love this call so much. Now, also, when they realize that other people are noticing, we would say to them, why don't we talk to 3 or 4 of your friends? Maybe even some of the friends who are noticing. Maybe their compliment was their kind of sneaky way of saying, can you hook a sister up? Like, how are you getting the results you're getting? That way, we could get your auto ship order completely paid for before it's ever even processed in the next week to 10 days. And with that, your second month of superfoods would end up being completely free. Does that day 14 call make sense?
Mm-hmm.
See how it can be very valuable on both sides, both them becoming a consultant and them embracing their product experience?
Yeah. Now, how would you word that when you first call them, you look great, I'm sure you're feeling great. Has anyone asked what you're doing? But as far as, let's see if we can help you get your auto ship paid for, I get nervous when I try to bring that up. How do you transition into that dialogue?
Well, you have to recognize that this person shared a health goal with you, and they're going to need to consume nutritional superfoods in order to reach that goal. But they're not going to continue to consume nutritional superfoods unless you help them get it paid for. So your commitment to their transformation of their health has to include your willingness to just honestly say, why don't we talk to 3 or 4 of your friends, see if they wouldn't want to join you? And that way we could get your auto ship completely paid for, and your second month could be free.
Okay.
People see it as 2 different relationships. It isn't. We know that if we can get someone to cycle once or twice a week, they stay on the products forever.
Mm-hmm.
But we know if they never get any of their products paid for, there is a lifespan to their product use. And for some people, it's a lifespan that's so short, they will never reach their health goals.
Mm-hmm.
So an integral part of their actual product success is our willingness to simply and honestly broach the subject and offer to show them how to get their products for free. You're making more of it in your head than they do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's the teacher coming out in you, Jackie.
I do. I'm a perfectionist. I just have to tell myself it's not about me, it's about them. So, yeah.
Well, it really is a part of their transformation, and we're kind of fooling ourselves if we think it isn't, because they just won't stay on the product forever without getting some kind of a discount off their product. So it is a necessary part of the conversation. But also, stop telling the scary stories to yourself as to, oh, I know what they're thinking. Actually, no, you don't. They don't think it's as the big deal that you think it is. You don't. You know, it's like offering someone a stick of gum. They either say yes or they say no. They don't worry about it for the rest of the day. You offered something, they weren't interested. Conversation moves on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on day 20, this call is instituted because of the new bonus that was created at Celebration called the coaching bonus. Now, the coaching bonus is quite simple. When your personally enrolled associate has an auto ship order that is a 30-day, you receive a $25 coaching bonus. If their auto ship is a Pace Setter pack, it's a $50 bonus. And if it's a Presence pack, it's an $80 bonus. Were you aware that it wasn't a stationary $25 bonus, but it was a sliding PIB?
No, I didn't know.
It's been very misunderstood. Of all the bonuses they've ever offered, this is more in the dark than anything. I explain it every day to somebody, even though it's been out for 9 months. It was explained poorly at Celebration, and then it was never cleared up. I even suggested to Isogenics, no one understands this. Why don't you just do a little 30-second video that explains it to people? It would take 30 seconds. Oh, it costs a lot of money to produce those kind of videos. Well, they don't all have to be those kind of videos, You could have some things that are really just for business builders. And they're little tips that we need to know because we're kind of lost about something. They don't all have to be Hollywood productions. Some of them could be just, guerrilla videos from our chief financial officer explaining to us how to get a certain pay. But so far, no, they still think they have to be pretty fancy. But because of that, very few people ever understand what that coaching bonus means. Very misunderstood. Now, we give you 3 steps on the video to follow here. Step number 1, by day 20, you review their progress so far. Now, on this form, we would have had an understanding of what their total health goal was when they started. So on day 20, we find out how close to that goal have they gotten to in the first 20 days. Number 2, we establish a second month's health goal in light of their progress and their goal. Now, this is missed by most people. Most people, even by day 20 of their product experience, have got busy with another person. And so they aren't helping anyone establish subsequent health goals month to month. And that's what hurts your retention rate. Why would they keep ordering if you haven't defined a specific reason for their order? So that second month health goal, in light of the progress they shared with you, is essential. And then, in light of both of those things, we help the person decide on what pack would best help them reach that goal in the second month. Now, it would sound like this. Let's just kind of play it out. Let's say his name's Bob. I'm going to call up Bob. Hey, Bob, it's PK. Just checking in on your progress by day 20. How are things going? Well, PK, I am a complete rock star. I have already taken off 12 pounds. Well, you are correct, sir. You are a rock star. In fact, we'll be making a statue in your honor immediately. Great, great job. Now, I see in my little list here that ultimately you wanted to release 35 pounds. Is that still correct? Yes, sir. I'm going to release 35 pounds. Fantastic. That's great. Great, great goal. Now, I also see on my little form that you started with a President's Pack. I mean, I always recommend to all of my associates that they invest in all 3 systems found in that President's Pack for the first 30 days. And if after 30 days, you cannot appreciate a measurable benefit, both physically and financially, that I, in fact, would come to your house, pack up your box, and get your money back. Now, it sounds like you don't want your money back. Sounds like you're pretty happy. Oh, I'm super happy, PK. So glad I made that investment. Okay, well, I just want to make sure how you want to go going forward here. You started with a President's Pack, all 3 systems. Do you want to continue at that level of investment for the next month? Now, please don't come to the conclusion on your own that they automatically want a smaller pack than they started with. Will most people say that? Yeah. But we also feed that to most people by the assumption that that's what they're going to do. If they're having great results, simply ask them if they want to keep up at the same level of investment that they started with. It's a yes or a no. Now, if you have an uncomfortable relationship with money, you will struggle doing this. You will always be lowballing them, trying to get them to go with a smaller pack. But that smaller pack may not be able to get them to their health goal. And you're actually hurting their progress because of your posture.
What do you got going on there, Jackie?
I lost connection. Am I here? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. It seems like there's a lot of like noises.
Roaring.
Yeah, like a wind almost.
I'm sorry. I have very unstable internet cable.
Okay.
And it just started raining, so I don't really know if that has anything.
I bet you that's what it is.
I'm sorry if I'll turn it off and watch the recording.
No, it's actually gone away now.
Yeah, must
okay.
It was just there for a minute. No big deal.
Okay.
I think it's the rain, actually.
So let's go back to Bob. We'd ask Bob what's his progress. He said 12 pounds. We suggested that we set a 15-pound goal for the second month, and then we asked him whether or not that President's Pack is where he wanted to stay. If the answer is no, then we drop down to the Pace Setter Pack. If the answer is no to that, we drop down to the 30-day. Now, if the answer is no to the 30-day, you got to stop Bob here and say, hold on, Bob, you want to take off another 15 pounds, but you don't want to eat any product. You're not going to do it. It's kind of a pipe dream, Bob. The 30 days about as small as you can go if you've still got 15 pounds to go. And try to correct his thinking when it comes to what he's going to be able to accomplish. Now, I know that might be more corrective than you're used to doing, but I want you to stay connected to their health goal and be committed that more than, being their best buddy every second, that you're going to remind them of their health goal so that they actually do stay on track towards that goal. And that does mean sometimes correcting some errant thinking that they're embracing, like thinking they'll need less than a 30-day to lose 15 pounds the second month. Now, is that more purposeful conversation than you normally have when you're discussing someone's auto ship in the last part of the month?
Yes.
Yeah. It works. It works to treat yourself and what you're doing like a professional and have a method that you're actually going to follow someone through, and they'll appreciate it, especially when they can see your motivation is to get them to their health goal. You're committed to it, even if they're backing off of it, you're committed to their health goal.
Okay, so my question is, when you originally enroll them in their auto ship, do you place the same pack that they enrolled with into their auto ship?
Yeah, I do, and with the thought in mind that, at any time we can change that. We can make that larger, or we can make that smaller. The auto ship isn't anything that's written in stone. It's basically for convenience sake. It's not like the Columbia Record Club or anything. It's just for convenience sake. In fact, you could change your auto ship order with an app on your phone at a stoplight. It's that simple.
Okay.
Now, the last touch is day 30, and it sounds like we're repeating ourselves, and we kind of are, but it's on purpose. And it's the inventory review call. Again, we do 3 steps as well. And on this call, number 1, we would establish how much product they have left to start their second month. And then secondly, we remind them of their second month health goal. And then thirdly, sometimes we have to recommend that they make a mid-month order. Now, let's call Bob again. Bob, I'm just checking in. You're starting your second month tomorrow. How did you finish your first month? Well, I did even better than I thought, PK. I took off 17 pounds in my first month. Well, Bob, you are a rock star. Way to go. Wow, 17 pounds. Now, I just want to make sure you've got enough product for the second month. Do you have enough shakes for the second month? Oh, PK, I got tons. Okay, but I'd like to know what tons means. What do you mean? Count how many canisters of shakes you have unopened. Oh, I got tons. I got 2 whole canisters. I said, did you say 2? So yeah, 2. Have you already opened your auto ship order? Yeah. And you only have 2 canisters right now. Yeah, why? Is that a problem? Well, no. Your wife is obviously having some shakes with you, isn't she? Yeah, she's having them now and then. Yeah, a little bit more now than then. Okay. You're definitely going to need to order 4 more canisters in the next week, or you're going to run out. I am? Yeah, at 2 shakes a day, and it looks like you're doing 3 or 4 shakes a day, you go through a canister in a week. You're not going to make 2 weeks at your present rate. I don't want you to run out and go back to old habits and bankrupt some of that great progress you've enjoyed just because you run out of product. So can we make a plan that in the next week you'll order another 4 canisters of shakes to hold you through? Yeah, sure, whatever works. It's working. I'm glad to do it. Okay, good. Now, in light of that fact, what do you think about talking to 3 or 4 of your friends, seeing if they wouldn't want to join you in your second month? You see, that way we could go backwards and pay for that auto ship order that you've almost eaten all of, by the way. And we could go forward, pay for that mid-month order. And that way your entire second month could be completely free for you and your wife. What do you think? Now, what does happen to Bob if he runs out on day 14 without any previous notice? He just looks in the canister and it's empty.
Gonna go and get something out of the fridge that probably isn't very healthy.
That's right. And that 17 pounds he lost now becomes 14 and 12 and 10 because he goes backwards while he waits for a shipment. Now, I know that many times people haven't eaten enough of their product by this call. That's fine. I don't want to imagine that's everybody and have dear old Bob stop being a rock star just because I wouldn't do a 5-minute call with them to express the need to make a mid-month order. And that's why we make this call, specifically to counteract that issue, as well as offer him one more chance to share it with 3 or 4 of his friends. Does that make sense, that last touch?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's a new thing to that phrase that I've said 16,000 times in this call. Why don't we talk to 3 or 4 of your friends? And I know the first 20 times you say it, you'll feel weird. After that, it'll feel normal. Don't worry. It'll feel normal to just automatically share that with people. You just got to get the first weird ones out of the way. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So can we commit to printing off that form and start following it with our enrollments going forward?
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, please remember we put all of our new information up on YouTube. This is our last call, so if you just keep abreast of our YouTube channel, you'll be able to know all the new stuff that we're teaching people, because we always put it up on YouTube for everyone to use. And hopefully what we've taught you over the last 5 weeks has been helpful, and you'll continue to see great results.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. It's been wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Look out for me at large events if I'm there. I'm easy to spot. Black jeans, black t-shirt, big bald head.
All right. Well, remember not to wear any perfume. We don't want to scare you away.
If you do, warn me ahead of time and just wave. Well,
right.
great meeting you folks. I hope you have nothing but continued great success.
Thank you so much, PK.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.